Hello everyone and welcome to St Monica's College Epping. My name is Brian Hanley and I am principal of this wonderful school. It is with pleasure that I welcome you to this presentation today, which normally I would be presenting to you face to face at our very popular morning tea with the principal, where I lead you around and guide you and your children through all the different classrooms and the areas here at the school. But because of circumstances at the moment, we are not able to undertake that activity on the property for the reason that you would know. Or additionally, you would be amongst a crowd of hundreds of people at our information night, which are designed primarily for parents and children in Year 5. And I would be presenting to you, along with colleagues, the story of St Monica's College Epping, but that too is not possible. So using this medium, it is great pleasure that I'll lead you through what the experience of being a Monican is for your child if you choose to send him or her to our school. So let me give a bit of background to our school, particularly for those of you who do not know the school. We started in 1964. It's a long time ago. So we've been around as an educational institution in the suburb of Epping for a long time. And interestingly, the school started as a school for girls, and the Sisters of the Good Samaritan, who ran so many of the schools in the northern suburbs, undertook and accepted the invitation of the local priests and parishioners in the northern suburbs to start St Monica's College. And so, from very humble beginnings, the sisters travelled every day from Northcote and established this wonderful school for girls in very humble circumstances. The story grew, the numbers grew, and in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, the demand for Catholic education for boys also grew. And so very courageously, the sisters offered to turn what was a thriving and successful girls' school into a co-educational college. The best decision they ever made is what I would say. And in 1978, our first boys entered the college on Dalton Road campus. Dalton Road campus, in fact, commenced in 1978 with the advent of the boys. So, St Monica's College Epping, who are we as a school? We're based on 3 campuses. People know very well our 2 campuses here in the suburb of Epping. We have our original campus, now known as Davison Street campus, on Davison Street itself, quite obviously, on the other side of the road to St Peter's Church in Epping. And that's where our years 10, 11 and 12 students are located. And we've just opened a $15 million 3-storey teaching and learning building for our senior students, and they love it. And it's working so very well. Literally a stone's throw away is our junior campus, our Dalton Road campus, and perhaps the one that you are more interested in at this stage. So it's years 7, 8 and 9, and don't people love the fact that it's a smaller campus? It's not 6 year levels altogether, 12-year-olds and 18-year-olds altogether, but it's a campus for our youngest students, and it's beautiful. And our Dalton Road campus, as I say, caters for years 7, 8 and 9 only. And it is a campus that I'll talk about later on. In 1999, seems a long time ago now, but in 1999 I purchased a beautiful property in the village of Strath Creek. That's towards central Victoria, near the township of Yea. And I was fortunate enough for the school to purchase 20 acres out there and a 3-storey mud brick and bluestone residence. We named it Ostia. Ostia, of course, is an ancient Roman town, and in fact where St Monica entered eternal life in 387. We called it Ostia because it's a place of peace and serenity. It's not for classes, it's not for sport, it's for prayer, it's for formation, It's for a time for students to be able to leave the city for a while and enjoy the peace of the Murrumbidgee Shire Council. And Ostia itself is a real haven for that. So it represents who we are as a Catholic school, and a school that cares for your child in a variety of ways. Over the years, Catholic schools serve particular parishes. Things are changing in governance in Catholic schools at the moment, but let me just share with you the main catchment areas for students here at St Monica's College, Epping. You'll notice, not exclusively, but you'll notice that our students would come from areas such as Epping, Lawler, Thomastown, Mill Park, Reservoir, East Preston, North Reservoir, and of course the thriving area of Epping North right through to Wollert. And that's our major catchment area in terms of enrolment. Of course, we take students from other suburbs as well, but most schools have a particular area where they draw their students from to come to their school, and those suburbs, not exclusively, as I said, but they're the main suburbs that we have. Catholic families and Orthodox families do receive priority in terms of enrolment. Closing dates are important at this school. We have a lot of applications. We do our very best to take as many as we can, but priority is given to our Catholic and Orthodox families, and I hope that you would understand that. But do we take students from other faiths or even of no faith? We do, but when we are able to have the space. So it's certainly worth putting your application in, particularly, unlike a lot of other schools, you don't have to pay money just to put in an application form. You can just issue it in, and we are able to look at and assess your application. Of course, if we were to offer you a place, then you pay an enrolment fee. Just a word of advice, if you are looking at a Catholic education and looking at various options, the principals of all the local secondary schools do share their lists of applicants to ensure that no family receives more than one offer. So just be careful in terms of your preferences where you place your 1, 2 or 3 in that regard. But to go back to what I was saying before, we have a belief here where we reach out and we welcome in. And so therefore, in a spirit of being a true Christian community, we are Catholic. We abide by and accept and fully embrace and implement Catholic faith and doctrine. And by the way, religious education is a compulsory subject for every student in the school. But if we can, we do not wish to exclude families who may not be of the Catholic faith, and also other suburbs as well. Another thing, 2 important things. If mum or dad is an old collegian of St Monica's College, if you came to St Monica's many years ago or more recently, doesn't matter where you live, your child will be accepted into St Monica's College, Epping. I always say, once a Monican, always a Monican. So, of course, we're going to take your child, aren't we? Also, if a sibling is or has been a member of our school community, again, this younger one will automatically be accepted into St Monica's College. So we certainly have a large enrolment into Year 7 annually. But so does every school in the northern suburbs, because a lot of people live here. So it's not just St Monica's College, but we have a distinct advantage, I think, in having a junior campus just for the juniors, and that's important. Co-education. There are 2 options for families, particularly in regard to this area in Catholic secondary education. There's single gender or single sex schools, all boys, all girls, or there are co-educational options. And my job today, as I speak to you, is not to criticise whatever type of composition this particular school is, but it is to say to you, this is a co-educational world. Families have boys and girls. Preschools are always boys and girls. Primary school was co-education. Where you work in your part-time job, there are going to be males and females. After you finish year 12, whether it be at university or whether it be at work or whatever it is you do, it's not going to be all boys or all girls only. It's going to be co-educational. So I think to myself, and I always argue to parents, in the most formative years of your child's development as a person, how appropriate it is for your child to be with the other gender and to grow up together in a structured, ordered, sensible way, but together they learn, and together they, after year 12, enter the world confidently in their relationship with the other gender. So, and also, of course, there are many families who say, oh, look, I've only got all boys in my family. I want them to mix with girls or similar. And the other families who say, I want all my children in the one school. And co-education, St Monica's College, allows that to happen. So it's a very important aspect of the school. You will be, if you're enrolling your child in Year 7, presenting at the front gate on that first morning a 12-year-old. Not a Year 12 student, but a 12-year-old. Fresh from primary school, probably nervous, probably in a uniform that's far too big for them, with a bag full of books and so on and so forth. But here this little youngster will be ready to be part of a secondary education at 12 years of age. As principal of the school and with my staff, I understand that. And we will have and do have very successful, kind and caring and effective strategies to ensure that your child, your 12-year-old, will be treated according to that age. And expectations won't be such that we want them to be like an 18-year-old Year 12 students. So we'll care for them very much. And I suggest that you speak to either your families, your neighbours or anybody in your current school who have had a child at St Monica's College entering at Year 7 and just ask them how happily their youngster fitted into secondary education, or if we needed a transition, how we helped them become a Monica in a happy way as a 12-year-old. So just always remember that too. You might say, and many people do, oh, but you know, my child will be the only child from his primary school. He won't know anybody. Well, we accept that, that's right. And so that's why we have programs in our pastoral care to ensure that your youngster will have the opportunity in their homeroom, in the subjects that they do, maybe in the co-curricula that they do, to meet other students. And you will be very, very, very pleasantly surprised to see how quickly that little youngster of yours who you thought would be lonely is part of the school community very quickly. I very much am committed to have no child left behind. No child left behind. And that includes no child having his or her lunch on their own every day at lunchtime and having no friends. And so our social lunches are organised, our classrooms put aside. We have board games, card games, bits and pieces, supervised, of course, where your child can go and meet other students who might be in a similar situation. And then, as I always say, like little birds leaving the nest, give them 24 hours, give them 48 hours, and they're out in the playground. That's the sort of situation I'm saying is how we care for Year 12-year-olds. For 12-year-olds, we don't leave them behind, and I don't intend to at all. I'm sure that as parents, you want value for your money. We keep our school fees at a very, very reasonable rate, and we're not a school that increases the school fee exponentially every year in a very outlandish way. Just a very small, just to keep up with cost of living prices, rises are asked of our parents. But at the same time, you deserve to have, as I would, and when I had my children at school, value for money. And that works out in numerous ways. Let me talk to you about some of the ways that happens. And firstly, I'll talk about our facilities. People are overwhelmed by the facilities that we have here on both campuses at St Monica's College, Epping. People will say to me very often, "Oh, Mr Hanley, the facilities are so new, they are so bright, they are so clean, they are contemporary, and you always seem to be doing something extra in terms of the facilities you're offering our children." And I simply nod my head and say, yes, I want you as a parent to know that your fees are put to very good use indeed, so that your child will be in classrooms that are cool in the summer months, that are warm in the winter months, that are spacious, that are cleaned every night, in a very meticulous way, and where there's room for your youngster to feel independent, not everybody enclosed together. I mentioned before some of the big project details in relation to our senior campus. $15 million, that's a lot of money. There was $1 million state government grant, but the rest of it came from loans that we took out using government funding in terms of our grants that we get for our students, and also school fees as well. A 3-storey building that our students have embraced in an amazing way. It is consisting of classrooms, a cafe area for our students, our central office area, a sick bay, a big open forum, and our students absolutely at years 11 and 12 have found a real home, an educational home in that building. And it's surrounded obviously by beautiful grounds. But not only that, our libraries, you would be delighted to have a wander through our wonderful libraries. We have our Pamela Coyne Library on the junior campus. That has won 2 architectural awards. 2 architectural awards for its functionality, for its pleasantness, and for the whole atmosphere and ambience of that library. And then we have our Sister Julian Quain Library. Well, that's stunning. It's a senior library. It is designed in such a way that our students are able to work in there and study in there in a very productive way, and it's modern and contemporary in its design, more senior in the way the architects have designed it, and it is quite superb. And by the way, that Quain Library is right next door to what most schools don't have, our art gallery. And we have an absolutely stunning art gallery right next door to our library. That's the ambience I'm talking about here at St Monica's College. It's a nice place to come to school every day, and we always want that to be the situation. But we have other wonderful facilities as well. How many schools, not many, how many schools have their own FIFA-approved soccer pitch? We do, and we're very proud of it. How many schools have their own full hockey pitch? We do. How many schools have 9 tennis courts available to our students? We do. And how many students have a wonderful 600-metre athletic track? Well, I think you know what I'm going to say, don't you? We do. So in terms of the sporting facilities that we have, our students have the Sports and Assembly Hall, we have indoor and outdoor basketball courts, we have other soccer pitches and playing spaces for our students. So in terms of those sorts of resources for sports, stunning in terms of what we have. You would be delighted to see our science laboratories. Our science laboratories are where classes take place, so that we don't have to have our science lessons taught in just general classroom, but let's teach it where they should be, which is in science laboratories. And I'm talking about junior and secondary. And we have on our planning books right this very moment another 10 science laboratories to be constructed on the junior campus in the next few years. So science is well looked after in a splendid way. How many schools spent more than $1 million on their technology and building and construction facilities? Well, I can't indicate to you how many, but I know St Monica's College did. So St Joseph's Workshop, a walk through St Joseph's Workshop, will see a splendid building and construction facility. It'll see rooms for metalwork and woodwork and plastics. It will see an open area and learning for students to work collaboratively with each other. And alongside our automotive studies area, where we have our own hoist for our automobiles, it makes sure that our technology facilities are of the very best as well. 2 dance studios at St Monica's College, because Monicans love to dance. And we teach dance as a subject from Year 9 right through to Year 12. Tasmanian oak sprung floors on both of the dance classroom areas, meaning that dance is popular with both boys and girls, and we're very pleased to have that facility. We have 3 gymnasia. Three gymnasia. One is mainly for our athletic development program, where students at an excellence level learn more and more the various skills and develop the traits that they need and the strengthening and so on under our athletic development coach. It's used for others as well, but we have that gymnasium, we have a second gymnasium on the junior campus, and a third fabulous, well-resourced gymnasium on our senior campus as well. So we're able to look after that aspect of life for our students, and I think that is very, very important for them. We are a Catholic school. We're proudly a Catholic school. Our Ladies' Chapel is located on Dalton Road campus, a beautiful place for prayer. We have liturgies in our Ladies' Chapel, and all students attend those liturgies with our chaplains, and it's a place of serenity and beauty. Meanwhile, we have the Good Samaritan Prayer Centre on the senior campus, and that's a drop-in centre for students who wish to have some personal reflection time during the course of the day, or when they first come to school, or just before they go home from school, and that the prayer centre offers that opportunity as well. So we're very fortunate to have that facility for our students. Whether it's performing arts and all our theatre classes and classrooms, whether it's visual arts and all of the art workshops that we have, because we teach art in workshops, not just in classrooms. You would be very impressed in relation to that as well. The majority of our classes too, by the way, we are able to open them up into bigger spaces so that classes can learn collaboratively. So we're not in the fashion of an open classroom school, but we are able to have flexible learning, and at times when it suits us, from Year 7 right through to Year 12, we are able to have collaborative learning spaces because of the way we designed our classes. I think when I spend your money, I need to ensure that your child is in the best classroom and best learning and best sporting space that is possible. I'd like to move to a different area now, and that is what happens in the normal school day of your 12-year-old who is in Year 7. Well, they come to school. We'd like them here about 8:45. They settle in, perhaps have a little game of basketball, put their books in their locker, so on and so forth, so that they are ready for homeroom, where they'll meet their homeroom teacher. And the homeroom teacher is a very, very important person in the life of a Year 7 student as well, because he or she will be there pastorally and practically to care for your youngster. And lovely relationships will form between that teacher and your student. And we want you as the parents to be involved in that relationship as well. So they'll go to homeroom and then they will begin their lessons. Our lessons extend for 44 minutes, and sometimes they have the same lesson, say mathematics, for example, for what we call a double period, 88 minutes, or they will shift from subject to subject before recess occurs at around about 11 o'clock, then in between, before lunch, which is just on or just after 1 o'clock, and then dismissals at 3:25. So that's with the course of a day. What sort of subjects? Look, there's a range of subjects, and I invite you to check our website or go to our prospectus to see the sorts of subjects that the Year 7s will do. But they'll all do religious education, they'll do English, they'll do mathematics, they will do science, they'll do health and physical education. They'll each do a LOTE, that is a language other than English. Amazingly and uniquely, St Monica's College teaches 5 languages other than English right through to Year 12. My goodness, what a situation we are offering to our students. So it might be French or Italian or Spanish, Japanese or modern Greek, but they are the languages that your child chooses one in Year 6 and then must study the language for 3 years and then can continue, if he or she wishes, right through to Year 12. Do you know we're the only Catholic school in Australia that teaches modern Greek? And we're very proud of that as well. We do have another program that you might want to make further inquiries about. I won't go into it today, but it's called CLIL, where students do a number of subjects in a particular language. Here at St Monica's, it's Japanese or it's Italian, and they'll start in Year 7 and do 4 or 5 of their subjects just in that language. Gently, of course, but that will increase as time goes on as well. When students move further on into Year 9, a whole range of elective subjects are added to the core subjects. That's where subjects like food technology and commerce and more advanced professional writing and dance and so on and so forth come on board. Automotive studies, technology, interactive digital media, so on and so forth. That's similar in Year 10. That's the year, remember, when they transfer to the senior campus. And then when we move to the senior studies, we conduct 3 very rigorous but successful programs for your children. The most popular is our Victorian Certificate of Education, VCE program, which the majority of students will do over 2 years, Year 11 and 12. Some students choose to add to that VCE program a vocational education and training, now called VET subjects. We offer 15 of those, and that might be anything from childcare to information technology to automotive studies to the whole area of engineering or systems, a whole range of subjects as well, more than just those, by the way, that they may do 1 or more VET subjects as well. And then the third program that we offer to our students in the senior years is the whole area of a Victorian Certificate of Applied Learning. We call that VCAL, where those students will not sit the VCE exams, but they'll work very rigorously in their own VCAL hub, which we have here at St Monica's, and learn in a different way with very high standards being set. People ask me, what is one of the main curriculum priority that St Monica's College has? And I always say educational support. Now, the majority of students cope at school, and we always want to ensure that they are challenged and that they improve all the time. But not every child is in that area. Some children are very gifted. And they need to be pushed in different sorts of ways. It's just the way life is. And so we have our Horizons program beginning in Year 7, which is an accelerated learning program where these students, and there's only 18 in each class at each year level, in the Horizons room, that's another new resource that we built just last year, will do the equivalent of 4 years in 3 years in subjects English, maths, science and integrated studies. For the rest of the time, they're with the rest of the that year level cohort. But that accelerated learning is called Horizons, and you will receive information about that in due course. The other area, and then we have a gifted and talented program for students who are not in Horizons. The other area are for those students who require additional educational support. Do you know I have 32 staff who work in educational support. Some students have severe learning difficulties. Some have special difficulties. Some will be integrated into the mainstream because of severe learning or physical disabilities, and we want to travel with that child. We want to be there with that child to ensure that his or her education satisfies the needs of the student themselves, mum and dad, and employing authorities ultimately. And then our Runga program is unique also. That is a particular program that travels through 6 years with our students who are autistic. And that program looks after those students in a very special way, integrates them into the mainstream, but at the same time cares for them as a very special person. So that is a rundown of our curriculum. I could talk for a long time, but again, as I say, I do suggest you check our website. It's a great website, that you check our website to just look under the area of teaching and learning, and I can assure you, you'll be very impressed when you do. Co-curricular. Not all students have to be all day just learning in the classroom and then just go home. Many of them, either before school or after school, like to do other activities. Do you know, offered every week, either Monday through Friday, we have 86 co-curricular activities that students are able to do. So some of them may be associated with the visual arts, through our art club, through Pokemon, through anime, through a whole range of other areas. Or girls do technology, or our STEAM program. I could talk a long time about our STEAM program. We are award winners in STEAM as well. But it might also, our co-curricular might extend to being a part of our school production. Very, very popular with many students as well. But there's more than that. There's the St John Cadets, the St John Youth Program. 80 students are comprising our St John Youth Program, the largest youth program in the state of Victoria. Exists here at St Monica's every Wednesday afternoon for those students who want to be a part of the St John Ambulance organisation as well. And it's all very official and done in the appropriate manner. But there are many other co-curricular activities that students might want to be involved in as well. And it could be a whole range of particular students involved in very different sports, in very different artistic pursuits that they want, and also academic, debating, public speaking. All of those areas, well, what did I say? 86 of those sports, those activities are offered in co-curricular. Social justice. Social justice, we are a strong social justice school, and we are very much involved not only in the local but also the Victorian, then the national and then the international community in regard to social justice. It's part of our mission. It's part of our philosophy. As I said before, we reach out and we welcome in, and our students are heavily involved in social justice activities of a practical nature, and also to be taught about how people can make a difference in the world. We also have a values education program. Now that has two aspects to it. Firstly, it will be immersion with other communities. So we have a very effective, happens every second year, very effective immersion program with the Sisters of the Good Samaritan. Remember, they founded the school in 1964 with the Sisters of the Good Samaritan in the Kimberleys in Western Australia. And our students will go there for 10 days and work with the communities, the states, the schools and other areas in the Kimberleys. On the alternate year, they will work with the sisters in the Philippines and live with the communities in the Philippines, in the villages, in the cities, working with the sisters and the ministry that they have there as well. So that's very important in terms of values education, the immersion program. And also we have strong links with other faiths. We have very much been pleased with the relationship we have with El Sarat Muslim College here in Epping and Thomastown Secondary College. St Monica's College is the third member of that group, where our students will work with each other and look at where life is taking us in the 21st century and work collaboratively together in that way. Your child may have a need for one of our counsellors. We have 6 counsellors on staff. Each of them is an educational psychologist. Each of them is a kind person, but also a talented and skilled person. And they are there to help our students, very much so. We have 2 school nurses, so that if your child has a particular illness, please communicate with our nurses. They'll communicate with you, but it needs to come firstly from the family and our situation, whether your child be anaphylaxis or whether there be other particular needs, diabetic or so on, and asthmatic. We're able to look after your child in that regard as well. So it's a whole picture, isn't it, of life in a secondary school here at St Monica's College, Epping, and it's one that I put to you for your consideration as a school. And I'm so sorry you can't come and visit it at the moment, but as soon as you can, you will be invited to look at our grounds, to look at our facilities, to read about our curriculum and say, yeah, this is the culture I like for my child. People will say to me, Mr Hanley, is St Monica's College a strict school? My answer is yes to that. I'm not afraid to say that. There are very, very clear expectations made of students. Heaven help us that we ever be a cruel school. That is not what we're on about at all. But there are rules, there are expectations. I think they reflect family values, that we will ensure that your child will know how to behave him or herself and what is appropriate. And we don't have detentions at this school. We don't need to because of the culture of the school. However, I will not tolerate bullying. I will not tolerate students who continuously, if they choose to, disrupt classes and other people's learning as well. They have to face the consequences of not being forgiven once or twice, or for there not to be a restorative practice. If they won't cooperate, then the majority shouldn't suffer. But that is very much a minimal situation. The culture of this school is you behave, you wear your uniform properly and proudly. It's a beautiful uniform, properly and proudly. Your deportment is appropriate. You walk and behave yourself in a sensible, adolescent way, and that your demeanour is such that it's not pushing and shoving and calling out and using vulgar language and those sorts of awful behaviours. That's not what we're on about at all. We also are saying to our students, your language always has to be appropriate. You respect yourself, you respect other members of this school community, and you respect the reputation of St Monica's College in the community. So this is our school. Our school is one where we have a strategic plan. We know where we're going. We are always a school of educational enterprise. I love that phrase, school of educational enterprise. We value our traditions. We are a contemporary school, and we plan for the future. I love those 3 aspects all going on at the same time. There is a big demand for places at our school. People embrace and believe what I have presented to you today, and I do say to you that when closing dates are such that you respect closing dates, because it's difficult if you haven't, then for your enrolment application to be considered after those times because of the number of people wanting to come to the school. Pray and persevere is our school motto. Pray and persevere is indeed what we do. St Monica's College Epping, a Catholic school for today and tomorrow, and it's been my absolute pleasure and pride to present to you St Monica's College Epping, and on another occasion I would just love to introduce you to the beautiful children who belong to SMC. Thank you.